Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Jake Seams. Jake is the director of property management at Morrow Companies. Morrow Companies has their portfolio has over 5,000 doors and they are in 7 states. I think I want you to do is I have no idea about you. I want you to do a lean forward and learn from their mistakes and their success secrets and their story. If they how they are managing all this in from one state, 7 states, 5,000 plus doors. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Jake Seams. Jake, welcome.
Awesome. Good morning today. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Jake, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to get with Morrow companies and start from nowhere and end up in having a 5,000 doors with in 7 states, and I'm sure you're on your way to get into other states as well. So what's your story?
Thank you. Well, I got into property management about 21 years ago. I was still in college at the time. Never thought I was going to choose this path because my degree's in marketing. But as I got into it, it's something that you really start to enjoy and you get a passion for. Helping people and individuals find homes on a daily basis, it just touches your heart and makes you feel like you've got a good purpose. As I grew within my career, and as I came over to the Morrow companies, we mainly specialize and focus in the affordable housing sector of the industry, which primarily is targeting tax credit, bonds, rural development, HUD properties. It's a mixture of affordable housing. And as we've grown, we've learned different steps that we've made hiccups on. We've learned from them, we've grown from them, and we've also seen things we've done very well, and we're using them and embracing those practices every day. But I love what I do. I think it's something you have to have a passion for, and really the affordable housing side of our industry, it really truly serves a purpose. It's a section that there's not enough affordable housing out there. That's the downfall. We oftentimes, it's great to have the big brand new conventional properties, but there's a demand for workforce housing, and being part of that, it really feels good and it touches your heart.
That's a good touches your heart. Very important, especially in last 12 months. So many things have changed,
Yes,
and thank you for making it affordable for many. Because many are not in a position to even pay their rent.
they are. I tell you, this COVID really took us all by surprise. It's shown us how we've had to redo some of our daily routines. For example, some of our properties where we've got elevators in them are congregate buildings. We had to increase our cleaning of those buildings and sanitizing just to ensure that some of our properties are senior communities where they're at more of a higher risk. So we had to take steps on our end as well to
Yeah.
navigate through COVID. And I'm glad to see there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Hopefully that's not much too far from now where we are right now at the time of this recording. Jake, someone is into getting into a multifamily and they probably bought a one, 30 units, 50 units, or they're trying to get their first acquisition. Just think about that, multifamily real estate investor. So what are the top three missteps to avoid what not to do in a multifamily investing?
Certainly. Uh, don't go too big too fast. What I mean by that is take on a smaller property, especially if you're new to it. Take on a smaller asset, a community that's under 50 homes. Um, Make sure that you've got a talented individual with experience in the industry. There's a lot of lingo that gets used back and forth, and then property law is completely different than what you would say every day you're um, going out and renting a home law is. When you start talking about multifamily, you start diving into fair housing, which is a huge niche that you don't want to go wrong with fair housing. You want to make sure that when you're communicating with your prospective resident, you're doing it in a right way, in a legal way. There's things like steering that you want to avoid from occurring. And also, as far as the maintenance portion, make sure you've got talented vendors or a talented person with the skill set to make sure if something goes wrong, we all have budgets. And as you buy a property, obviously you don't want to contract everything out to a vendor. You're not going to be successful in making money. So make sure you have a talented maintenance team or an individual that can step in if you have a need for repairs. And then having a solid business plan as well in a marketing strategy. What I always suggest is get out. You can be an investor and purchase properties. That's great, but know your markets. Get familiar with your competition. Go out and shop your competition. Do your market study research. Those are things where not enough people don't often look at those. They'll look at a report and say, well, this looks great, or I think I can make it happen. But they're not familiar with their product because they don't spend the time to go out and shop their product. Go out as if you're the person that's going to rent and get familiar with your competition, because you're going to understand what you need to do to attract people to your property.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Jake, I'm going to flip the question to a different, however, the same question. What it takes to go from 300 doors to $3,000 doors, basically, is a different level of, one is like you go over to 30 to 50 doors. That's a separate mindset and separate skill set. So what it takes from 300 doors to 3,000 doors, what are the top 3 missteps to avoid from taking a growth from 300 to 3,000? Because you're gone to 5,000. That's why I'm asking this follow-up question.
Well, the biggest one I would have to say is thinking you can do it all yourself. Oftentimes people see that when they're increasing their portfolio size, sometimes they don't know when to ask for help. And that's where a lot of investors or potential investors go wrong. So knowing when to ask for help and making sure you do ask for help and bring in the talent to get you there. The second one I would have to say, marketing strategy is a huge one, because oftentimes they're not developing a marketing plan, and they're not executing a good business model that's going to make sense and help them grow. So that's very important as well. And then understanding your finances. And if you're not familiar with building a budget and really executing a budget and living by the budget, then you're not going to be successful. You've got to have a solid plan in place to budget your properties. What I would suggest as well is work off of a purchase order system if you're using vendors or you're using outside companies to do work for you. Because if you have a whole bunch of property managers going around just ordering supplies, you have no way of tracking it, you don't know how much exposure liability you have out in the market. So definitely I would suggest a purchase order policy or plan to ensure that you're able to manage your expenses accordingly.
And I like to add, Jack, not having a vertically integrated. You need to have a property management right as one of your own company, you know?
Yeah.
That's a big mistake. That will eat up your big margins.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. You are right.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake. So even, everybody think, Morrow company is very successful, 5,000 units, it's like 7 states, it must be doing killing, it's like making millions, which is a good thing. I'm happy for that. However, it was never like that when they started. There has to be some kind of lesson learned somewhere. So what's your greatest failure story at Morrow companies? What did you learn from that, and how did you recover from it? So we can learn from your mistakes.
The biggest thing that I would have to say on that is communication, community training. Oftentimes, we're so quick to offer our opinion that as I've grown and I've learned in my career, you need to take a step back and listen to what people are saying. Be humble. Remember, we're here to serve our residents, and we've all got a purpose. And obviously, at the end of the day, we're here to make money and be successful. But if we're not listening to our residents and our team members and recognizing them, unfortunately, we are living a fast-paced environment day in and day out, and we don't spend enough time in developing our own team as a whole. And you don't realize how much that hurts you until one day you look down and say, wow, we're sinking here. What do we got to do to fix it? And you start reviewing your processes, and that's when you realize I should have spent some more time in developing my team. When I say development, I also mean in being with them, recognizing them, because the only way you're going to grow and be successful is if you have a solid team working with you and humble yourself. Just remember, you're not always right. And just because you may be the owner or the investor, you've got team members that are in the trenches day in and day out, and make sure you're listening to them because they're on site, they're dealing with it, and things change, and they know better.
They know better because they are facing with the prospective residents and the prospective, the vendors, and dealing with. They are on front line for you, basically.
Yes, sir. Very true.
Yeah, your best client is not your best resident. Best client is your best employees, basically.
Very
Take care of
true.
employees, they will take care of everything else.
That's correct. And then people don't often realize that, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
as I've learned, sometimes you really truly need to just humble yourself and make sure you're effective with your listening skills.
Wonderful.
That's going to help you out so well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Jake, let's just change the side of our conversation. That's on a success side. So, what are your top 3 success secrets at Morrow companies that has made you from small number of units to 5,000 units? Please make a promise. You are going to give us your best ones, okay?
Okay. Let's see. One I can definitely tell you, we recently brought on, when I say recently, within the last year, it's an arm of Facebook called Workplace. That communication tool has helped take us to the next level because what we've done is we use that as a platform to reach out and communicate with our team members, to keep them informed, to keep them engaged. That has helped us hand over hand because we've been able to offer additional training to our team members that we did not know was needed or we weren't aware that they wanted. We've been able to help fill up vacancies because it's a platform where we, for example, let's say you get a resident phone call and they're looking to move to a property out in Tennessee and they call a property in Alabama. And now a manager can post on Workplace and say, hey, I've got vacancies out in Tennessee if you're looking. Somebody else in another state gets that phone call because that manager was aggressive in putting her needs out there. It helps fill up those vacancies. So it's helped us close the door on vacant property, on these vacant homes that we've got by using this tool. So Workplace is certainly a great communication tool for us. We also use it to recognize team members for not only contests, but also residents. We send out resident surveys for our property. We try to send them out to all 93 assets at least once a quarter. And that's how much of an importance they are to us. So we use, once we get the resident surveys back in, we draw names from the surveys for the residents to send them a gift card for saying thanks for sharing your thoughts and feedback with us. So communicating on Workplace has been successful for us. Bringing the managers in and explaining them how to read and review financials has been a huge success. Previously, in the past, when you have a management team that doesn't understand financials, they don't know what you're trying to achieve at the end of the month, what their target goals are. So bringing them in and spending the time to break it down one by one, going over a financial report and saying, this is how much money you're making, this is how much we're spending, what your bottom line is. So that is truly well. I think people don't spend enough time training, unfortunately. It's one of those topics in the back of your mind. We all know, hey, you need more training, you offer more training, but it doesn't occur as much as we would like it to. Other than that, team building is a huge one. I would say, unless you've got a team that you're working with and you're compassionate what they do, and you show that you're caring, it's not going to help your company. And you're going to be dormant. Things are not going to be operating as smoothly as they should. So that would be some of the biggest, I would say.
Wonderful. I love you when you said your internal employees, the collaboration environment. You use a Facebook Workplace. It could be any other platform. It doesn't really matter, Asana or something, whatever. Need to Microsoft Teams. I just want to fair play for everybody. So it's have a collaboration environment for your teams, for your internal employees, and also your end clients as well. It could be a separate space. And great focus on the team building. It's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much.
Certainly.
Yeah. So, Jake, we have an audio issue coming on. I can hear myself.
Oh. I'm not sure if some is that.
Okay. You have something notification coming on too.
Oh, sorry, I apologize for that.
Is it fixed?
Fixed?
No.
Yes, it should be fixed.
I can hear myself back.
I can hear myself back.
Can you put a headset?
I'm not
Can you
sure
put a headset?
I can do that. Audio. Okay. Does that help at all?
Let me see.
Let me see.
Okay.
Now I can
Now
still
I
hear.
can still hear.
Okay. People are watching us on YouTube and Facebook Live. So it's a technology challenge, folks. I'm just letting you know. That's okay. That happens and you deal with it. So, do you have a headset to wear right now?
Unfortunately, I do not. I use my
Okay.
Bluetooth
You
for
know,
everything.
now it's a good. I can't hear myself. It's all good now. Whatever you did, it fixed that one. Okay, wonderful. So, Jake, I appreciate this opportunity. So, you like to anything else you like to share on from Morrow companies? Any bonus success tip or something which you didn't really get around to share?
Well, the biggest thing I just want to put out there as it pertains to property management and the affordable housing is a lot of the states right now have an opportunity. The government has introduced income averaging as another form of qualifying for low income housing. Now, it varies by state. I know it's received the federal government's blessing, but it still varies by state whether or not they adopt that or not. Louisiana has adopted that, and I believe Georgia has as well. As well as some of the site in the Carolinas, but Alabama has not, and we have a large presence within Alabama. So that's one thing I just want to put out there in the real estate industry is push your legislature to consider income averaging. It's going to only help your business grow and attract a better resident that can help you fill up those vacant doors.
Wonderful. This is good. I'm glad. How the growth hacking secrets community people are watching this now can support you.
Thank you. Please visit our website. Please visit it on LinkedIn. We're very active. We actually host open houses when we go out in the communities where we're upgrading our properties or we're building new assets. So any ideas that you have or thoughts and marketing strategies, we always love to hear them. We love the feedback. If you go to our website and just click send email, it'll send myself, our owner, David Morrow, an email. We love the feedback. Please share it. Let us know if there's ideas that you all think of and come up with that have worked successfully for you. We love to communicate and listen to how we can be better. So I just appreciate any feedback anyone can provide and help us out.
Wonderful. Morrow companies. The link is on your website, on your screen right now. MORROW companies, COMPANIES.com. Visit that site, check that out, and share your best ideas with our guest Jake. And he will, and also you are welcome to connect with him on LinkedIn. That's what he invited, and engage with our guest because he is shared so much what not to do and what to do, how it has worked at Morrow companies to create them from nowhere to 5,000 doors. Now it's your turn to give something back. Okay, so like a give and give. So that's how you build a relationship. Thank you so much, Jake. As we are about to wrap up, I like to ask you as a guest experience, on the show, what would you say about your today's guest experience on a Growth Hacking Secret show?
I believe it was wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time to reach out and just to have this conversation and help us promoting what we're looking to achieve and accomplish. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind words. Before I ask the last word, I just want to share with you, I have a business partner. He is a reckless billionaire, $10 billion worth, owns over 160 miles of land, beachfront properties in the US and around the world, and 48 businesses. And he is building a safe city in Tennessee, 4,000 acres. I'm just thinking that it may be a good for you to meet him on Zoom call on some other time when mutually, agreed. do some kind of brainstorming how you guys can have set up a collaboration, because his mind works like huge in real estate. So
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
okay, thank you. Jakes, what would you say as a final word?
Make sure, just humble yourself. Make sure that you are being a team player and really take time to listen and develop your teams and be there and support them.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jake, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. Today's message is don't go alone. Build a team. Team means together everyone achieve more. Until the next episode, all good wishes.